What's up, folks? So, I'm going to tell you the story of probably the stupidest thing that I've ever done in my life. And, well, let's just get into it. So, I was 18. I had either just turned 18. No, I just turned 19. Went on a cruise with my dad and my brother. Cruises have, excursion, like they stop at a couple places. One of the stops was Jamaica, which at that point I was a stoner, but I wouldn't really consider myself an addict yet at that point, but definitely young and stupid. So I was told before we stopped at Jamaica, don't buy anything from the cab drivers. And of course I'm like, yeah. So the shore excursion that I did was a mountain biking trip with a cliff diving at the end. So we rode mountain bikes for a while, stopped at this cliff. It was beautiful. It was high enough up that I could do double flips down into the water. The water was like 20 feet deep and you could see all the way to the bottom. I mean, it was awesome. At this spot, they had rum punch, and the drinking age in Jamaica is 18. So I was able to get drunk, and I got drunk while doing the cliff diving thing. And then we got back in the car, went back to the dock. And if you look up the James Bond dock, you'll see the dock that we went to. They filmed Dr. No, I think it was, had a couple scenes at this dock in Jamaica, so it's known as the James Bond dock. But basically, it's a rectangular dock, and the boat parks, and you get off the boat, and then you have to walk down the dock to get to the road, to the street, and get access the island. But there's one way in, one way out from the boat. So when I got off the boat, there was nobody on the dock. We just walked and went and did whatever. On the way back, I ran into a cab driver, and he asked me if I needed anything. And of course, I got in the cab, and he's like, "What do you need, man? Weed, coke, heroin?" And at that time, I had never done anything else. And I was like, "No, man, I just some weed." So he drives me a few miles away to like somewhere in the ghetto where he lived, and like his daughter or son, he had a couple kids, brought out a trash bag, and I mean a trash bag filled with this outdoor weed that looked not that great, but actually when we smoked it, it was pretty good. But he said I was planning on only just getting a little bit and putting it under my ball sack and taking it back on the boat. Well, that's what I did, but got more than I expected. He says, $70, take what you want. And I was like, oh, okay. So I gave him $70, and I took like a handful. I mean, they were these long, like sativa looking buds, because they were like, I grabbed a handful, and it was like, sticking out of each end of the hand. So the buds weren't small, they were long. And yeah, I literally grabbed a handful. It had to have been an ounce, if not more. Just stupid, completely stupid, planning on taking that back. I mean, I knew they had like a bag check, like a bag scan type thing, but they never patted you down at any of the other excursions. So I thought I was safe. Anyway, so get that. Me and the cab driver smoked a joint on the way back to the dock. I get out, we say our goodbyes, and it was so funny when I sparked the joint. He and the smoke starts filling the car. He's like, "Yeah, man." It's like my favorite moment of the whole ordeal. But so I get out, we say our goodbyes, and from the road and from like where you start walking, you can't see. There was like a building in the way or something, so you can't see the actual dock until you get around the corner. So I went into a bathroom. I had basketball shorts on underneath regular shorts. I tied the bag with the ounce of weed like underneath my crotch, inside the basketball shorts. And then I go to walk back on the boat, and I'm high and still pretty drunk at that point, so I just look fucked up to anyone who's paying attention. And I get around, like I mentioned, you can't see until you get around the corner. I get around the corner, walking to the on ramp, or the the ramp to get on the boat. Jamaican narcotics tent. Where there was nothing before when I got out. I was like, oh shit, I kind of freaked out, but like I can't turn and run. And like I'm just thinking of all this stuff in my head. And like I wasn't really aware of how fucked up I looked, but it really caught me off guard. And I was just walking, 18, 19-year-old kid by himself. My eyes were probably red as blood red. And they immediately pointed at me and like told me to come here. And they were looking through my bag, which is actually, well, I'll get into that at the end. But they're looking through my bag, and then there were like a couple females looking through the bag, and then there was a male, like a man with, a kind of a casual button-down dress shirt, starts searching me, and he goes like, he was patting me down, blah blah blah, and then when he got to the inside of my legs, he was like, and went like basically karate chopped my nuts, and he felt it, and he was like, remove it, sir. And I froze, and he had to say it twice because I was like, this can't be happening. And I went into like a little strip search thing, like by myself, and took it out and gave it to him. And even the narcotics officer, he didn't realize how much it was. He was like, what? Like he couldn't believe how much I was gonna try to take back on the boat. And it was, so they had me stand aside. They finished looking through my stuff. They called the assistant captain down. They called my dad down. He was talking to my dad. The assistant captain bitched me out for trying to bring that back on the boat. They were talking to my dad. My dad starts crying. He was saying they want to keep you here. They want to keep you here. They want to keep you here. And so, for a couple minutes, I was just kind of sitting there, wondering whether I was going to get butt raped in a Jamaican prison for the next however many years of my life. And what I think happened was the captain convinced the Jamaican narcotics officer that it would probably spark some sort of international incident with a 19-year-old white American getting thrown in Jamaican prison. And this was, I'm kind of surprised, this was like 2007, I think. So kind of the attitude towards weed wasn't really loosening up that much yet. But the captain, so after the captain and the officer finished talking, the officer didn't look or talk to me. He looked pissed. And the captain came over and told me that I was going to get back on the boat and that authorities would be waiting for me when we got back to Miami. And got back on the boat. And so the rest of the trip I had a shit ton of anxiety, thinking that like something was going to happen once I got back to the US. And when the cruise was over, I mean, I enjoyed the rest of the cruise the best I could, but when the cruise was over, there was this long walkway that you had to walk to get on the shore, and I was just looking around like, when are they gonna come get me? When are they gonna come get me? And it was all bullshit. He just wanted to scare me. There was nobody waiting for me. I just walked and went back and, did my thing. So he just kind of wanted to, I guess, ruin the rest of the trip for me. So, my God, the level of stupidity, both from being a young and stupid person with an underdeveloped brain and having the alcohol in, if I had just gotten like a gram or two, I would have been fine, most likely. But yeah, it didn't go that way, and it almost went really, really bad. But a little cherry on top, a little consolation prize, I guess, when I got home. And this is after taking a plane back from Miami up to Rhode Island, going through, like, checking my bag and all that. Um, the leftover weed from the joint that I rolled with the cab driver was still folded up in a little paper in my backpack, and even the customs at the airport didn't catch it, and those two female narcotics officers didn't find it, and I had no idea it was there until like a couple days after I had gotten home. So I ended up getting some Jamaican weed back to the U.S. after all, and I unknowingly smuggled it back home. But anyway, this has been really long, but those are the important details of the story. And like I said, stupidest thing I've ever done, and I was lucky to make it out as unscathed as I did. So don't buy weed from a cab driver when you go to Jamaica and try to smuggle it back on the boat. Catch you on the next one.